Alright, so today we are going to talk about hair, and I'm going to start with showing you eyebrows. When you do start your eyebrows, my person, you can't see her eyebrows because her bangs are covering them, but I'm just going to go ahead and pretend just to show you today. But when you are doing the eyebrows, make sure you do have it all shaded underneath, at least the skin part, whether so you're not putting all your eyebrows on top of non-shaded parts of your picture, so you still have that value change. And when it comes to eyebrows, I don't have a picture. Can I see your picture real quick? Usually because of the way the head is rounded, your eyebrows are going to be darker underneath and lighter at the top. So you should have a lot of darks down here and lighter up there. And then also with eyebrows, usually they start growing right where your nose wing is. So if I take my pencil and have that wing go all the way up, that is usually where eyebrows start growing. Can't guarantee that's true for everyone. Some of them might have you more over. Some people might have their eyebrows more lined up like with their eyes. So it just depends. You're gonna have to look at the person and see what you have. But they do just grow straight up, okay? So when it comes to the ones that are right here, you're just drawing lines. And then I am trying to make them darker at the base, so that's where it's darker. And then your hairs start to turn. So over here, right above the colored part of your eye, your eyebrows, the lines start to turn. You guys can see that? And then when you get over to where it really bends down on the other side of the eye here, they actually start growing this direction. So kind of going straight down over here. Again, they're going to be darker, so I'm trying to darken it up at the base. And it should just look like little lines. And depending on your person, you might have a few lines that are kind of stray. And then up at the top, it should be a little bit lighter. But just making sure you're making the direction of your lines in the direction of the way the hair is growing. So you might even have a few that kind of come out here, just depending on your person. Okay, so that's eyebrows. Not much to it, it's just lines. Okay, same with facial hair. It's going to be the same way. I know she doesn't have any facial hair, but we're just going to pretend she does. So if she had a mustache or even just a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, those are just going to be little dots that you're putting on there over your shading. So make sure you've done all your shading and then go in and put those dots. Okay, if they were longer, if it was a thick mustache, then you're going to have longer lines, and most likely it's going to be darker down here and lighter at the top. So thinking about how the light hits on the face. All right. Any questions about eyebrows, facial hair? It's really just dots. Same with moles. If someone has a mole, you want to have all your shading done first, and then you can go in and shade that mole in if that's what they have on their face. All right. I love hair. Hair is probably my favorite thing to draw. One of my favorite things to draw because it has so much movement. Hers is pretty straight, but you can even see some pieces curling in and some pieces down here curling out. Hair does move a lot, so whether you draw it exactly how it is on your picture doesn't matter so much because the strand of hair could actually move in a different direction. What I want you to notice most in your picture is the darks and the lights of the hair. So her bangs are curling down and around, so they're really dark down here, but then she has this nice highlight going through the top. Now I know I've cropped that out of mine, but had I had that in the picture, it'd be really important to pay attention to those highlights. So she has some lighter pieces of hair, but she has some very dark pieces of hair based on the shadow of her face, okay? So when I do hair, I like to think of it as a ribbon, okay? And I like to do one section at a time. So bringing in her one piece of hair coming down here along the side of her face, I'm just gonna bring it all the way down. And we'll start all the way up from the top here. And then just making another line going right next to it. Okay, now I think of this as a ribbon coming down the side of her face. And so what I do first, just to get the tone on there, is I like to shade from the outside of the ribbon in. So I'm really adding kind of the darks or medium tones along this outside of the ribbon. And I am just using a number 2 pencil right now. And you can see how I'm holding it way back by the eraser. And then same over here, I'm gonna go on this side and just darken up the sides of my ribbon. So I'm leaving the middle part of the ribbon lighter. And now I'm just putting a little bit of color, get a little bit of medium there in the middle. You can probably see it best down here at the bottom. Make sure I'm on the screen there, okay. Now, after I have the shading correct, okay, if that's how dark her hair is, and her hair, there's definitely much darker parts down here, but I would say it's about the same tone as her face, most of those lighter tones. So now after I get that on there, I can actually put in detail. So after you get it all shaded, you have all, let's pretend I did all my ribbons, okay? Have my next ribbon come down, shade along there, then I keep going with all my ribbons. The last step is to go in and add the texture to the hair. So actually adding the lines of the strands of hair. So just coming in and pulling some lines through that shading. So now I have the texture built up on top of what I've shaded, okay? Then if I need to, so if she does have some highlights up here at the top, I can go back in with my eraser and pull out some of those highlighted parts. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have curly hair, because everyone, I don't know, everyone's got different people, but curly hair, it would be a curly ribbon. So I'm just gonna pretend I have a piece of curly hair here. So again, just following it and doubling up the size. So it kind of looks like a ribbon here. And then shading from both of those sides to get the color on. Okay, and then if it's a curled piece of hair, try to do this quickly here. You definitely are gonna have highlights, most likely on where the curl is bending. This depends on your lighting. For her hair is really straight, the person I'm working with, for her portrait, and actually her right in here is super dark, so I would really just shade with my B pencil and get that dark. But just trying to show you what you would do if you had someone with curly hair. So again, I've got my shade, my values are on there. I've got it darker on the edges of my ribbons. So now I'm just gonna pull through that texture with some strands of hair. And then I can go back and highlight right in here, probably where it's lightest. I feel like the kneaded eraser works better. And I don't want it to just be white. I still want her to have the texture of the strands of hair coming through, so I just need to pull a couple more of those pieces through. Let's see how it's much lighter there where it's bending. Okay, and then I would darken up maybe down here where it's more hidden. Okay, any questions? All right, you can start hair if you're ready to.